I think of this as a best case scenario. Could they swing Willy Adames? Could they do it?
We're going to do most of this segment being positive like we did about Alex Bregman. So let's play the exercise. Let's say, sure. Let's say you could swing Willy Adames. He is one of the younger free agents, which has to be appealing. You know he's a great defender. He can hit 25 to 30 bombs in a season. Yeah, there's a lot to like about the guy. It is an elevated version of Ha-Sung Kim, a guy that racks up a ton of value because of how great he is on defense, while he can also really hit.
92nd percentile batting run value. He hit 32 home runs this year. He was worth nearly 5 Fangraphs wins above replacement. Only struck out 25% of the time. And get this stat about Willy Adames. There have only been 4 shortstops in Major League history to hit 30 homers, drive in 100 runs, and steal 20 bases. It's Willy Adames, it's Alex Rodriguez, it's Trevor Story, and it's Bobby Witt Jr. That's it. It's a pretty good group for Willy Adames to be in. And you'd sit there and you look at his WRC Plus from this year. It was at 119, which is a good mark. The only shortstops who were better than him offensively this year were all the best players in baseball, essentially. Bobby Witt, Gunnar Henderson, Corey Seager, Francisco Lindor, Trey Turner. They're all pretty good players.
Those are great players. I have a couple questions. Do his previous 2 years at the plate scare you at all? WRC Plus in 2022 was 109. 2023 was 94. He hit this year. He really hit. He doesn't always consistently hit.
He's not consistent. He's off the Mitch Garver tree. Good year, average year, good year, average year. And that comes with some of his profile. He does walk a little bit. He does strike out a little bit as well. And he's had noted problems in the past of hitting at certain ballparks. Do you remember why he got traded from Tampa? Couldn't hit at Tampa.
No.
Couldn't hit in that ballpark.
Mm-mm.
So they traded him to Milwaukee, where he's flourished. He hasn't been totally consistent, but he's been good enough to potentially earn $25 million a year on the open market. The projection for him right now is 6 years for $150 million. Could be a little bit less than that with the current TV revenue issues that a lot of teams are facing. But that's where his value is currently at. And that's pretty good for a shortstop, because if you think about it this way, those 6 shortstops I rattled off before him. Again, let me just repeat this list. Bobby Witt Jr., Gunnar Henderson, Corey Seager, Francisco Lindor, and Trey Turner are the only shortstops more valuable than him in Major League Baseball. Those are all players worth over $300 million. Willy Adames is going to be worth half that. But his value's not half theirs. Right?
You make a good point. I would be all for Willy Adames, because you're probably not signing Alex Bregman. You're almost definitely not. You are almost certainly not signing Juan Soto. No, it's not a smart strategy. Sorry, it just kicked in there again. Sometimes I can't help myself. It just comes out, and I can't help myself to stop it. My bad. Anyway, this feels like one of the more realistic but also upper echelon possibilities. It's still low odds, but it feels like in the realm of the A-tier free agents, he feels somewhat more in the realm of possibilities. But would you pay a guy 9 figures to essentially be a defense-first guy? Because there is a world where if he struggles here, then you're paying him to essentially play good defense, but the guy you invested all your chips in through your free agent resources isn't really moving the needle offensively, where we know this team has to get better.
That's just a risk you're going to have to take, though, because like third base, after him, where are the options?
Non-free agency, that's for sure.
They're all in your farm system. That's what the answer to that is. And you're not getting any of those guys to be an everyday player for at least another year. Yeah. So if that problem is getting fixed this year, and you want to have the best option, this is your best option. And let's note that if they sign him, he is definitely playing short. Mm-hmm. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you're giving him 9 figures, he's playing shortstop J.P. Crawford's going to second base. That's how this arrangement will work out. But you mentioned the age, too. That's why this makes more sense for the Mariners. Like, their constant paranoia of free agency is old players declining. He's not old. If he's not old, that should make him more realistic and more worth investing the money in. And you know what? If you give him a 6-year deal, he's going to come out of it at age 34. It's not that old. You're getting most of the prime years of a player in that case.
Mm-hmm.
The odds are you're also not going to get his best seasons offensively in this ballpark because Milwaukee's a better hitter's park than T-Mobile is.
Not by that much.
Not by that much, but still, T-Mobile Park is pretty clearly last on that list. So you wouldn't expect him to just totally light the world on fire. But value's value, Lyle, because the problem is they've had this combination of bad hitting and bad defense at some positions, bad hitting and good defense at some positions, and then good hitting, bad defense at some positions. He can, in his best years, give you both. They just don't consistently have that on the infield.
Mm-hmm.
Like Gino in 22 was the last guy to do both of those things in the same season.
Mm-hmm. I'm all for Willy Adames. Don't let me turn people away. I wanted to just play a little bit of devil's advocate, ask you all the questions, make sure all your reasoning was well thought out, which of course it always is. I still just wanted to test you. But yes, I would be all for Willy Adames. Sign the guy, especially to the point that he isn't old. If the Mariners look at Alex Bregman and say, we're going to sign him at age 30 or 31 and he wants 8 years, we get a little nervous about that. If they're looking at a guy like, who's another example in free, Anthony Santander, a little bit on the older side, doesn't really have defensive value, maybe they get a little worried about that. Willy Adames can play both sides of the ball very well, and you would not be signing him at an age that he should age out poorly. This one makes a lot of sense. And they should look long and hard at this one because you've got him at a young age. You've also got Juan Soto at a young age, but, I mean, we know that's not happening. So, yes, Willy Adames makes a lot of sense. I would be over the moon to sign him. Would I be a little worried about his offensive profile in T-Mobile Park? A little. But at the very least, you know the backbone of Willy Adames is he's going to play good defense.
So you say that. His DRS this year was among the worst in baseball. -16 this year. Now, the previous 2 years before that, he had been excellent. I do raise an eyebrow a little bit, though, is that an aberration? Because going from like a +8 to a -16 is insane.
What was his OAA? That doesn't sound right that he was just a bad defender all year. I'm pretty
his
sure his
OAA
OAA
is a little bit more consistent. And his OAA in 23 and 22 were in the 95th percentile.
And this year he was still in about the 70th percentile.
Right. So his range is good, but the execution of it was...
You know what? I'll say this. If you're talking about bringing Yoan Moncada in here and letting him play defense and you say, well, Perry Hill can make him average, then Perry Hill should be able to take a Gold Glove caliber defender and keep him as a Gold Glove caliber defender, especially when he's in his late 20s and he's not really aging.
That's a fair point. It's not going to be the stamp leader that you bring in, like Lyle was talking about, and bringing an Alex Bregman personality type into the clubhouse to fire everyone up and motivate them and bring that championship drive and energy. Not to say Willy Adames can't be that guy, but Alex Bregman's a little bit more proven that guy. That doesn't mean you can't have great baseball players on your team. Because the goal of the Mariners coming up here in 2025 is to add as many great baseball players onto their team as possible so they can go win a World Series. And Willy Adames is a step towards that.
Hypothetical. You can sign Willy Adames. The Mariners are the ones that win his free agency bidding war. But you have to bring back Jesse Winker to pair with Willy Adames.
You know, I think I'd do that. Because, like, Winker hit this year.
You know those two have major beef, right?
Oh, my God, I forgot that. So, actually, definitely, yes. That would be so entertaining.
You can count on me waiting for you in the parking lot.
I think that would be a fantastic twist to the Mariners season. Would it work out? Not a chance. But would it be really entertaining? Yeah. Yes,
How long would it take to have a D. Gordon, Gene Segura fight between those two in the clubhouse?
Not very long. To Jesse's credit, Well, at least, because I think we'd heard that Scott Service wasn't a huge fan of his defense.
Why
I
would
can't
he
imagine.
be?
I can't imagine Dan Wilson was either, or some of the current players in the Mariners core. So I don't think Jesse Winker would only have a problem with Willy Adames.
No. There's no chance Jesse Winker will ever be back in a Mariners uniform. Almost definitely. I guess if he's in his late 30s still playing, it's a totally new regime. He's somehow still hitting, and they say, yeah, you can come DH. Maybe then, but even then, it still seems very, very low.
At least we'll always have the 3-run home run he hit down 10 runs in that meaningless Sunday game we were at after they clinched.
Oh, you mean Jesse Winker hits huge homer to cut the deficit 7?
Yeah. Okay, Chris Paul.
Yes, sign me up for Willy Adames.